Hello everybody, I'm Errichto and this is a guide on how to start with competitive programming. In short, competitive programming is a mind sport or e-sport where you need to quickly implement solutions for some mathy puzzles, some tasks/problems. There are some big on-site competitions with prizes like Google Code Jam, and I will talk about them more in next episodes, but now let's focus on online platforms, and there are plenty of them, but two main ones are codeforces.com and atcoder.jp. This is Japanese website, but let's focus on Codeforces. If you want to start with competitive programming, you should solve easy problems first. In Codeforces, you can go to problem set, sort by difficulty. In some platforms, you can solve by the number of people who solved the problem. That would be the last column here, but Codeforces has the difficulty rating, so it's even better. This is decreasingly, I want increasingly, and now this is a trap because some problems aren't rated at all. I need to scroll and switch to the second page. Easiest one has difficulty of 500, whatever that means. Let's open that. And there is problem statement, some usually story or just math definition, input section, output section. Your goal is to write a program which will solve this problem. If that program is given this input, it should print exactly this. Some example of a problem would be you need to read username and print hello, name. And then it would need to be exactly this, character by character. You cannot make any typo because then you will be judged as wrong answer. After we are done with a program, we submit that to this judge, to this online platform, and after a few seconds we will get result of accepted or some error, like wrong answer or time limit exceeded if we used too much time. Below problem title there is time limit of 1 second and memory limit of 256 megabytes. You cannot exceed that. In easy problems you shouldn't worry too much about the time and memory limits. You should just focus on the statement and writing a correct code. Efficiency isn't that important. This problem statement says a little girl has a number and applies the following algorithm. If the last digit of that number is non-zero, she decreases the number by 1, for example from 17 down to 16. If the last digit of the number is 0, she divides the number by 10. Then I guess, for example, from 170 to 17. You're given the initial number n. Tanya will subtract, using this algorithm, 1 from this k times. You need to print the final result. For example, if initial number is 512 and k is equal to 4, we need to repeat 4 times, then the answer should be 50. And most of the time there is example explanation below. If you are confused how we should get 50, here the first example corresponds to the following sequence. From 512 we get to 511, 510, 51. Here something is divisible by 10, so we just remove the last digit, then 50. And 50 happens after 4 steps, so we print 50. Let's see how a program for that looks like. You can open your favorite editor. For me it's Genie. And I will use C++. C++ is the main language for competitive programming, followed by Java and Python, but those two are less efficient and less convenient in terms of data structures already available, while C++ has a lot of them in STL library. But if you know Python, it's okay to solve easy problems with Python. You need to read from the input, so after creating two variables n and k, I will read them. And if I was asked about the sum of two numbers, I would print that, and this would be a good code. But I need to do something else. Repeat k times, change n. If n is divisible by 10, and you can check that in C++ like this, then divide it by 10, otherwise subtract 1, at the end print n. It doesn't matter if you put a new line after that. I can compile this and run. If I put 512 space 4, enter, I should get 50. Indeed, this is 50. I can also test on the second test. I will copy this or hit copy button over there. Run again, paste, and I got 1, just as expected, so I can submit. There is a button for that on the right. Choose file, I will choose that from my directory. Done, submit. And now I need to wait for verdict. The platform has some set of tests, maybe 50 of them, maybe 100, prepared by organizers in advance, and now they are run automatically, like unit tests. The verdict is accepted. Let's also try something wrong. What happens if I change this to and divide by 100? Maybe I made a typo or something like that. Let's submit this again. I don't actually need to rechoose the file. Let's refresh this because I don't see myself. As you see, a lot of people are using the platform at the same minute, but this is my submission. It's now running on test 1. I can open this submission here, let's say in a new card. This is some information about it and code. I got wrong answer on test 1. I can open it and get some additional information. Wrong answer, expected 50, found 4. The platform will tell you a little bit about your code, at least some platforms do that for your convenience. Some other platforms will just tell you wrong answer and you don't know what is wrong. Something is. This is not the only way to implement a solution for this code. You can see now on the screen a few solutions in C++ and now a few solutions in Python. There's a variety of them. And something that simple as reading the input can actually be done in different ways, and this way to read input isn't the most efficient one, and in some harder problems I couldn't use this method. If the input would contain a lot of numbers, then using sin isn't fast enough. There are those details, but again, they do not matter in easy problems. So how to start with competitive programming? You should first know some language like C++, Java or Python. Perfectly, it should be C++. If you don't know that, first learn the language. Google some online course or buy a book. Then you can go to codeforces.com, problem set, sort by difficulty increasingly. Go to that second page to get rated problems. And starting from the easiest ones, solve a lot of them. 20, 100. Actually, if you are bored and this is too easy for you, then you can jump to harder problems. Scroll down, go to problems with difficulty of 800 or 1000. What if you are stuck in some problem? Then on the right, most of the time, there is section tutorial, something written by contest organizers, where you can, for this problem, wrong subtraction, open tutorial, there will be description of a solution, some analysis, and sometimes code as well. Here I can see that this is how they implemented this solution. Below the tutorial there is often some discussion and comments about problems. Maybe if you're confused by something, you can go there and search for answer to your question. I also mentioned another platform, AdCoder. There you can go to some recent contests, like AdCoder Beginner Contest 159. And in terms of those difficulties, you can start with things of difficulty 100 and 200. 3 and 4 will be too hard for beginners. Go to tasks, open them, and again there is some statement, input and output description. After you're done, at the bottom submit your code. Here we can copy paste it and choose the language. The list of languages is always very big, but 99% of people use C++, Java or Python. Solving problems is the main thing you should do, but also it's nice to read something about competitive programming to understand what other people do and what you are doing wrong. And there is a free book for that online, PDF online, Competitive Programmer's Handbook. The link for that and other things I mentioned will be in the description of the video. There is some big contents list. And introduction says, the purpose of this book is to give you a thorough introduction to competitive programming. It is assumed that you already know the basics of programming, but no previous background in competitive programming is needed. And the book starts with some introduction like that, example of C++ code template with explanation what it does line by line, macros, something that other people often do to simplify their code, the refresher on mathematics, like summing up squares or arithmetic series, logic, OR, AND, XOR, and so on. Then much later, there are actual algorithms like merge sort or time complexity, how we insert things, what are data structures, what is a segment tree, and so on and so on. My recommendation is to mix reading this book with solving Codeforces problems sorted by difficulty. That's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and see you in next episodes where I will talk more about big on-site competitions like Google Code Jam and those smaller online contests like Codeforces rounds and AdCoder rounds. And you will learn a bit more about this world of competitive programming. Bye bye!